Let's go ahead and go to our guest. If you just joined us, Joe Joseph was on with us for about 30 minutes the other night on the nightly TV show, InfoWars Nightly News, 7 o'clock. And it was he and his wife kept sending us emails saying, look at this Department of Defense contract, look at that one. This is all public stuff. But about an hour after our article went up, and we did our interview with him at Infowars.com Wednesday night, it was taken down. The documents about the military to run and Northcom to run, the continuity of government collapse in the FEMA camps and the Blue Force versus the public. They pulled it and put a message up that we've got in a subsequent article saying, Department of Defense employees, you're not supposed to upload classified material or even sensitive. So I guess the message is, and I haven't talked to Joseph since then. So, Joseph, what do you make of this? Have you had repercussions? Because as you pointed out, you didn't talk about any classified stuff not about the things you're involved in. You as a citizen are allowed to contact a talk radio person and say, hey, do you see this public thing? And break down how important it was. And it is big news, obviously. And they pulled it. What do you make of that, and what's happened since we talked to you 36 hours ago or so?
No, Alex, it all comes down to accountability, and that's the only thing that I'm trying to achieve here, is to hold these people to account for taking away our liberties and freedoms. I mean, this is ridiculous stuff, and I want to point out, yeah, they pulled it. I have no idea why they pulled it. It's an open source document, and if you go through fbo.gov, which is a free open source website that the public can go on, much like the CBO. You can go to the CBO, Congressional Budget Office, and go and look at all the congressional numbers. All this stuff is open to the public, so it was a bit troubling to me to see that they pulled it down. And now you brought up source selection sensitive, which is on the document, and then next to it, it's FAR 3.104. If you look up FAR 3.104, that has to do with procurement integrity. All that says is there's guidelines that you have to follow as a contracting entity within the federal government to properly put this contract out for bid. Probably because it's $umpteen million contract, and I don't even know how much it is.
Oh, this thing's got to be in the tens of billions, how gargantuan it is.
Well, I don't know. I'm not privy to that kind of information, but I'll tell you how I stumbled upon this and where it really got me is when you were talking about the KBR and the reactivation of FEMA camps. And my wife came to me and said, well, this is what Alex is talking about, and he's got some inside documents from KBR. And I says, well, sometimes getting that kind of stuff from a contractor is a little shoddy. But anytime a contract's been awarded, there has to be a solicitation notice. So let me go look for the solicitation notice. Now, I didn't originally find the solicitation notice for KBR because the first thing that popped up when I searched Department of Homeland Security was this. And I was like, holy smokes, man, this is crazy. And it's important for the government to have a continuity of government plan, much as it's important for all of us to have a plan to fall back on. Like, for example,
this isn't like if a meteorite hits or there's a 12.5 earthquake that splits the country in two, like's happened before with the Mississippi River. But no, this, as you explained, it's right there. This is a battle plan against the people and a total takeover and a suspension of the system, just as PDD 51 that Bush signed, Obama continued, says Congress is suspended for any reason, including economic.
Well, the document in and of itself is only one piece of the puzzle, but it's interesting how they put the entire puzzle out in about 1 month's time. And it's one sentence in the original document that makes it, that puts it all together. And it says additional efforts of operations division includes geospatial information system, which is like a battlefield awareness type of thing, Blue Force situational awareness, that's how you identify friendlies, and command control, communications, and computer. These are all warfare terms. So my question is why, for a continuity of government operation, are we using battlefield terminology on our own soil? And then, if you tie that in with S-1867, S-1867 makes America a battlefield. Oh, well, now we know why that language is in there. It's because they go hand in hand with one another.
But when I've been to Marine Corps drills that are on tape, they had 12 years ago, red versus blue, and the militias they were practicing fighting in America in the drills, and we have it all on tape, the Marines of the Blue Force fighting the Red Force.
Absolutely right. So, I mean, It's troubling. It's extremely troubling, but it's certainly nothing for people to fear. And that's the one thing that I want to put out. I do this out of a sense of duty. One of my heroes is Martin Luther King. And he once said, you know, cowardice asked the question, is it safe? Expediency asked the question, is it politic? Vanity asks the question, is it popular? But conscience asks the question, is it right? And there comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular, but he must do it because conscience tells him it is right. And we cannot be silent in these days, folks. This is the time to stand up. I know one of the prevailing thoughts when you start diving down the rabbit hole is you start to feel alone, because anytime you try to approach coworkers, and I know you had active duty military and police calling in, and they talk about just how hard it is to try and awaken their coworkers, and you have to make them feel like they're not alone. 2006 New York Times poll came out where 81% thought that there was something hokey about 9/11. But do you hear that kind of people speaking out about it? No, because when they go to their moms or their dads or their family members or their coworkers, they get looked like they got 3 heads on their shoulders. And so they be quiet. You know, they quiets them down because they don't want to feel like a freak. They care what other people think.
And this is my issue. I've reached the point now, even more than before. It's not abnormal that I'm jealous of my liberty. That those are hard fought and hard won. And we need to be aggressive with people when they try to stomp on us, because the system is openly trying to break our will and train us to be prisoners. I mean, this is a conscious program.
You had probably one of the best interviews last night that I've heard in a long time, and that was with Bruce Fine. And he laid it all out for people as far as what is truly going on. I mean, this is empire. If you look back through history, this is what empires do. This is nothing new. This is just the latest version of empire. So it's up to us.
And he talked about how they want to shut any competition down, any power source, whether it's a big church that even serves them, gun owners, factories. The empires always seek to shut everything down as a control freak measure, as an instinct towards domination.
Absolutely right. You know, the American people have shown great restraint through all this. And, you know, the question that I always have is, what are the elitist and special interests trying to achieve by this? JFK said it best: those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. What are they trying to do?
They want a violent revolution.
It's unbelievable. And just so everybody knows, too, S-1867, or the NDAA, has not been signed by President Obama yet. So call the White House. You know, 202-456-1111. Call the White House. Tell them don't sign the bill. You know, flood them with phone calls.
Now, since you came on here, they pulled the document, but nobody's talked to you at the Department of Defense now?
No. Everything that we're talking about here, Alex,
no,
is
I know.
legal.
I like the fact that you're bold and out in the open, because you know, this system, it's like a mind control of police and bureaucrats. They act like you're guilty, and when you like break the trance and go, hey, buddy, I'm not a criminal. Stop acting like that. This is America. They'll seem to kind of shake their head. I mean, it's like they've got them in like a routine or something.
One thing Mr. Fine pointed out yesterday was that people in government do not like accountability. They don't like to be held accountable about things. But we have to hold their feet to the fire. We have to do that kind of stuff. Public servants serve the people. The people don't serve the servants. It's not that way. It doesn't work that way. They are not slave masters. And people have to understand that over the years, this programming has taken effect to where police officers and government officials and members of Congress feel entitled to this respect that they're not due. I mean, you should be proud that you serve the public, but it's a sacrifice. It's supposed to be a sacrifice. You're not supposed to profit off it. You're not supposed to have a power grab from it. It's a sacrifice. And that's the way that I feel, and that's what my job, that's when I talk about being a veteran or anything like that, it's a sacrifice. You give up years of your life for what? To hopefully keep liberty and freedom for everybody. But what a lot of people are coming to find out, especially in the military, and thank God they're donating in droves to Ron Paul, is that what are they fighting for? You know, RT just came out with a news piece that says suicides are more suicides than there are war deaths now.
No, it is. The last number I saw is it's 6 times. Some numbers were even higher. The former record number. They're having more people commit suicide now than in World War II, when there was 5 to 6 to 7 times the number of people in the military. I mean, people are committing suicide. We're in a depression. The economy's falling apart. Everybody's freaked out. The government and the media, these paid whores, keep telling us everything's fine. And it's just going to get crazier and crazier and crazier from this point. But, you know, the good news that you brought forward, and I see it as well, is you were saying about half the people in the Department of Defense you talk to are really awake now, and that those numbers are growing. The other half, 25%, are just gung-ho and will jump off a cliff if they're told to, and the other 25 just aren't really that smart, I guess. So that's about what I'm seeing. In fact, I found people that are on the inside know that stuff's wrong even more than the general public.
Right, but I would say 99%. Just like, you know, Occupy Wall Street, that number is very key. 99% of people within government, they just want to go home to their families. You know, whether or not they support the policies of this dictatorship, or they are awake and just silent. They just, at the end of the day, they want to be left alone. They don't want to be involved in all this kind of garbage, but they don't want to exactly stick their necks out either. And that's the problem. We're past the point of, well, am I going to be safe?
No, you're not going to be safe if you don't say no to this. Did you hear the police officer, and I've talked to a bunch of them, I mean, one of the famous guys that saved a bunch of people, where the FBI said, we'll kill you and your wife if you question Oklahoma City?
Absolutely.
I mean,
it's a shame.
I mean, that's the real level of what we're facing. And, you know, it's the same FBI, the same crew that did all that. They're in charge again right now.
Unbelievable.
I mean, that is so creepy, folks. People are like, well, you better be scared then. No, we better stand up to these people. I mean, they're the same ones that did Fast and Furious to blame our precious Second Amendment. The enemy is in control of the country.
You don't need me to tell you that humanity is in a deep crisis. Everyone can feel it. We know a tectonic struggle is now taking place between the forces of freedom and those who love darkness, bondage, and enslavement. Yes, my friends, evil is rising. But take heart. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Recently, New World Order operative Hillary Clinton admitted they're losing the info war.
We are in an information war, and we are losing that war.
The globalists are scared. They've overreached. The future of the info war is in your hands. Join PrisonPlanet.tv. Download the thousands of special video reports, ebooks, and more, and get them out to everyone you know. Continue to spread the word about the broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and every other globalist propaganda platform. We are going to use their system against them. The info war now goes into high gear.